Arav was the boy no one waited for. In the busy town of Rangpur, where bikes zoomed, school bells rang, and homework flew around like paper planes, Arav always fell behind.
He wasn't loud, or quick, or clever with comebacks. Just quiet. The kind of boy whose name people forgot during roll call, whose presence you only noticed when someone asked, "Was he even here?" At home, he moved like a whisper, careful not to cause noise, not to be a burden.
He just doesn't listen. It goes in one ear and out the other.
He can't even tie his own shoelaces.
Arav, did you do your homework or feed it to a cow?
Bet he can't even spell his name right.
Arav didn't flinch. He just looked down at his pencil like it was something broken, something he was supposed to know how to use, but never quite could. Around him, the world kept spinning, and he couldn't even find the starting line. At home, behind closed doors, he heard the things he wasn't meant to. Whispers, low voices behind kitchen walls, the words adults think don't reach small ears, but they do.
What are we going to do with him? We've tried everything.
I feel like he's already given up. Like he doesn't even care anymore.
But they were wrong. Arav did care. Deeply, he just didn't know how to win. Every time he tried, he stumbled, and every stumble wrapped around him, like vines pulling down a crumbling wall. That night, he stood in front of the mirror. The bathroom light flickered above, casting dull shadows across his face. He looked at his own tired eyes and whispered, barely audible,
"Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just broken."
The mirror didn't respond. It didn't judge, but it didn't lie either. It just reflected the quiet weight of a boy trying not to disappear. There was one person who always noticed: his grandmother. She didn't ask questions, didn't scold. She just sat beside him on the balcony when the sun dipped low and the city turned amber.
The world's a loud place, my child. But I hear you. I always have.
Then why does nothing I do work?
She smiled, not the kind people force when they don't know what to say, but the kind that comes from somewhere old and real. She reached into her shawl and pulled out a small, carved lion. The wood was worn smooth, its face faded, but it stands still proud.
Your great-grandfather carved this when people told him he'd never become anything. He didn't roar.
Arav turned the lion over in his hand. It wasn't magical. It didn't shine. It didn't purr or whisper secrets. Just wood. Just old.
It's just a toy.
Maybe. But it carries a memory. A story. Of someone who didn't give up when others gave up on him. Keep it, not because you need to be perfect, but because trying again is its own kind of brave.
He didn't say he believed her, not then, but the lion felt heavier than it looked. Heavy in a good way, so he slipped it into his pocket, quietly.
Even his pen wants to run away.
Laughter scattered across the room like marbles. Arav felt his cheeks burn, but his hand slid into his pocket. His fingers closed around the wooden lion. He muttered to himself,
"Just try."
He raised his hand. Miss Rita blinked in surprise. He gave the answer. It was wrong. Silence.
Trying takes courage. Arav, good job. That evening, Arav told everything to his daddy.
I tried but I failed, but it didn't feel awful this time.
In art class the next week, Arav drew a lion floating in space, its mane tangled in stars. It was strange, dreamy, beautiful. Nina leaned over, her eyes wide with curiosity.
That's so cool. Can you teach me how to draw that? Yeah, okay. Your stories, they're weird, but cool weird, like dream weird.
Even Raghav stared.
Since when does he do stuff?
Arav smiled, just a little. Not everything made sense yet, but something inside him had started moving slow and steady, like roots under the ground.
He drew this.
haven't seen him sit this still in years.
There were no grand speeches, no dramatic hugs, but the next morning, his father packed his tiffin carefully and handed it over with a small smile.
Try your best today.
4 words, but Arav carried them like armor. Arav began to linger after school reading with Miss Ritu. He helped Nina carry her books. He showed Sam how to draw lion paws that actually looked like paws. He didn't talk a lot. He didn't need to. He was present. He was there. Arav, you will be the storyteller of this month. Raghav looked like someone had flipped his world upside down. Arav stood at the front, the mic just a little too tall. His fingers were clammy, his heartbeat loud in his ears.
There once was a lion who forgot how to roar. Everyone said he was weak, so he stayed silent. But he kept walking. He fell. He tried again. And one day, he roared so loud, the stars leaned in to listen.
For a moment, the hall was quiet.
I want to hear it again. Peru.
That's my boy.
And Arav? He didn't smile because he won. He smiled because he wasn't invisible now. That night, he slipped the wooden lion under his pillow like a secret.
Found your roar, cub.
I think I'm just beginning.
And maybe that's how every real roar begins. Not with noise. Not with applause. But in the quiet moment when someone decides to try again. So if you, dear listener, ever feel small or lost, remember Arav. And remember, there's a lion in you too.